What I'm grateful for is that I've always been a very optimistic person, almost idealistic, almost positively toxic positivity, right? Not Pollyannish, but I was definitely somebody who was very quick to fill my cup. We would find ways to turn the misery into the marvelous. Instead of answering to the question, how's your day? And someone says, oh, it sucks or it's bad. I'll say it's a good day with a lot of crappy moments. Because even if a butterfly flutters by or a hummingbird stops in my window or a leaf flutters in front of me or I hear a baby's giggle, right? I then cannot define the day as bad.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest with us, my new friend, Misha Safran, and she is going to talk to us all about her mindset transformation. And I know already from her energy that this is going to be a very inspiring episode. Welcome, Misha.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's fun. I'm excited.
I'm very excited to have you. So before we get into the questions I have for you, would you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Absolutely. I am Misha Safran. I use she, they pronouns. I'm on the land of the Ohlone Karkan people in California. And I am an author, a coach, a leadership development trainer, award-winning consultant, and I'm also a singer-songwriter. And I raised 5 children, and my oldest birth son just got married in October, and I have a lot of joy from my family. And I'm in a loving partnership, and it hasn't always been so beautiful. So I'm really grateful to be here to support your audience and talk about what mindset transformation can look like.
I love that. What a beautiful array of talents you have there. I can't wait to dive right into all of that. So speaking of mindset, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but can you tell us on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say you are? 1 being really low mindset, kind of struggling, and 10 being like super optimistic and feeling good.
So right in this moment, I am a 10.
Okay.
And I say that because it has to fluctuate. I have to allow myself for the ebb and flow. And if I deny that I'm a 4 or an 8 or a 2, then I'm just allowing negativity to fester even more. So I acknowledge and welcome when I'm a 2 or a 1 or a 3 or a 7. And right now I'm a 10. I feel very good about my morning, my day. The sky is blue. The colors in the leaves are gorgeous. And so I have a lot of gratitude, and that's what brings me up to the 10 plus.
Yes.
So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And every guest that I have had on the podcast so far has said that same exact thing, is that we cannot stay at a 10, and we should not expect to stay at a 10, and we should acknowledge when we're not at a 10. So thank you for reiterating that. We are not into toxic positivity here.
Nope.
We're all about acknowledging the real, the deep, the truths that we need to address. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so tell me, have you always been at a 10?
No. Did you expect that answer?
I kind of did.
I think that's why you ask it, right?
I know. Yeah. We have to ask. We have to ask because you never know. There might be, hopefully there's somebody out there who's always been a 10. I don't know. You never know. So tell me, we go real deep in this podcast.
Good.
And we go right to it. So if that's okay with you.
I have my tissues ready.
Hopefully we won't need them, but if we do, hey, we embrace it all. Beautiful. So I just want to know, what I want to get to the part about how you got to a 10, right? Because you weren't always at a 10. So if there's a story or an incident or an experience that you had where you were really closer to a 1 or a 2 and you found your way from there to a 10, that's the story that I want to highlight. If you're comfortable sharing any such story, tell us if there's something like that might have happened in your life where you felt really low.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the challenge was for me, which one to pick. So what I'll say is there have been many ever since very little. I've had many, many lows to highs. And they sometimes would take a day, sometimes they'd take months. The one I think I'm called to share took years. And so in 2013, I had just changed to a new school. I was a teacher for 30 years, teaching French, Spanish, middle school, high school, community college. And I had just had to change. It was not a desire. I had to change schools. And partway through that year, I had a car accident.
Oh boy.
And it was a very mild car accident, but somehow it sparked in me what later, a year and a half, was finally diagnosed as fibromyalgia. And I
Oh.
was using a cane and I was very miserable. I was uncomfortable and I was just not getting over the car accident.
Mm.
And the doctors kept saying, you should be better by now. I don't know what's going on. And even suggesting it might be psychosomatic. I finally had a doctor that diagnosed me and did a great job. A month later from the diagnosis, which, mind you, again, was a year and a half from the car accident,
Oh, wow.
my dad was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, which was really devastating and upsetting. A month later from my dad's diagnosis, my bonus mother, his wife, my bonus mother of 40 years, was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my God, girl.
4 months later, my mother, 75 years old, was diagnosed with lung cancer. Never small cell carcinoma, never smoked. Maybe in the 60s had some things, but never, not a smoker. And I was at my all-time low with my disability. Again, at that point, I was a cane, a walker, sometimes even a wheelchair.
That's crazy.
And
Wow.
I was,
Oh,
it was a lot. Yeah. I mean, anybody
yeah.
listening who has heard my story is like, holy, you know what? Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
Oh
right?
my God. Oh my God. All right. We need to take a deep breath collectively just to
Yeah.
take in all of that, right? Because
Yeah.
whew, I feel the energy of that being heavy, really, really heavy. And then it's like one after the other, boom, 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 boom. It's a lot to deal with. So okay, continue. I don't want
Yeah.
to interrupt, but I
And
just,
and there's certainly parts of that that I've left out because just before that, my son lost a really good friend to suicide. Like it was
oh
a
my God.
swirl and a fog of
Yeah.
what is going on in our area, in our life, in our family. So yeah, there was a lot of, my mom actually used to tell me, breathe, honey. And I'm like, no,
I know. Oh my God. So now I'm even scared to ask where you were on that scale at that time, 1 to 10. Like, where were you?
oh,
Like
it
the
was,
negative zone?
yeah, I think it was really going negative.
Yeah.
What I'm grateful for is that I've always been a very optimistic person, almost idealistic, almost positively toxic positivity, right? Not Pollyannish, but I was definitely somebody who was very quick to fill my cup,
Mm,
find ways that really supported me in getting through. So I'm very resilient, forced resilience. So I do believe I got to the negative several times, but I don't think I ever stayed there very long. But I can't say I jumped to the 6 or the 7 or the 10, right?
right.
It really took a long time. So in September of 2015, my doctor let me go off work. She put me on disability.
Oh,
And the benefit of that was I got to care give my mother for her last few months of life. My
oh,
boys were teenagers. They took care of themselves. It was not a good time for me to be away from them, but at the same time, she really needed that. And she and I got to rebuild and bond and do a lot of healing together.
mm,
And we would find ways to turn the misery into the marvelous. And it
mm,
was really important for us. It was painful because she really, my dad and my bonus mom were in remission. My mother was not going to get into remission.
oh, I'm
And
sorry.
so when she finally passed in December is when I was still off work and I had to switch the light switch on and say,
Mm,
okay, that light switch went out, but this light needs to go on. And I started to do so many things
mm,
to change from being that 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 10.
wow.
But
So
it's
tell
taken
me,
me 4.5 years.
wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, it takes time. It takes time. It's not an overnight journey. We don't drop down quickly. We don't come up quickly. But, my goal with this podcast and all the work that I do in intuitive coaching is to help us reconnect with that voice inside that shows us where to go. And so when you were going through all of these things, like, yeah, your mindset was in the negatives, but what were some of the feelings that were going through your mind? Like what kind of like, I guess, for people who are in there going through that right now, might find some relatability in what you were going through. Can you share a little bit about the feelings that were going through your mind at the time? Because, it takes a lot to come from that low place to even want to reach a higher place, right? So, you said you had the optimism bug, which was in you, thankfully, that helped you kind of push out of it. But where were you really? What was it feeling like in that moment?
Yeah. Well, the challenge is I've also my whole life struggled with mild depression, if not greater than mild. And so there were times where it's like, why even bother? Why push through this? What's the point? I know when I work with clients around joy, it's like, no, 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 but if I feel joy, there's just another shoe's going to drop. And
The
so
fear.
why get into joy when it's just going to be in pain? And and so I had those thoughts of like, I don't know why I would even try. The doctor said there's no cure. My mother's gone. So I definitely felt like a loss of purpose. And
Mm,
then I also would say that I felt like I read a wonderful poem. It was like a tsunami came crashing down and just took over. And I couldn't imagine the tsunami dying out and the waves getting further and further apart. They
mm,
eventually did, but at the time it was like it's crashing down. And with the pain level, it felt like 10,000 pounds of truck was on top of me.
mm.
Not being able to move, not being able to get out of bed when I wanted to, all by myself. And so it did really feel like I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know. I don't want to take medications anymore. I don't want to do this. So what am I going to live like?
Yeah,
So why live? And I
yeah,
will say that was the darkest. That's where I would say I was the negative, right?
yeah,
Because I did not know and have the tools or resources. Well, actually, let me take that back. I had the tools and resources. I didn't know how to access them. And there was a part of me that was sunken so low that I didn't want to reach for them.
yeah.
I
Oh,
thought, how can I continue with all this feeling, whether it was physical or emotional, and put that burden on other people? I have family and friends who are watching me. I don't want to put them through that. So they'd be better off too if I wasn't around.
oh my God. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm so glad you fought through it, and I can't wait to hear how you did that. So, tell us, I love that description, by the way, of the tsunami. It is so apt, and it just describes exactly how sometimes we feel in that moment of pain. So when you're in that place, right? Did you have like a support system that you could reach out to? Were you even, well, it sounds like you weren't really even looking for when you were so feeling so low. What do you think when you look back was like the first experience or trigger for you to kind of start your journey back to yourself?
That's a great question. So I will say that when all of this happened, I did have a very strong spiritual practice.
Mm,
And so that was the first thing I went back to was my gratitude every morning, my affirmations. I reached out to friends in my spiritual community. I read books. I went to the pain clinic, even though the doctor was like, this is just a band-aid. I tried to have fun. I put some activities on my calendar. But what I found that was really important was getting into consistency. So I had to tell myself, and I wrote music. So
mm,
music is really important to me. So I wrote songs, I wrote music. And one of the songs that I wrote is called Ain't No Bad Day for Me. And so what I determined was my own philosophy of living, which is a tool, which is that instead of answering to the question, how's your day? And someone says, oh, it sucks or it's bad. I'll say it's a good day with a lot of crappy moments. Because even if a butterfly flutters by or a hummingbird stops in my window or a leaf flutters in front of me or I hear a baby's giggle, right? I then cannot define the day as bad. Just
mm.
like I cannot define the world as horrible. There are good people in it.
Yeah, I love that. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. It is so, so true what you said, because, one of the things that I say in my work is that no matter how crappy of a day you're having, there's always something to find gratitude for.
Yes.
And so that's exactly what you're saying, right? There's always something to look forward to. There's always something that can brighten your moment, if not your whole day.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And
And
then
it's
so
it's the things that people don't even expect. Like I joke with people like, how'd it go when you brushed your teeth this morning? Did your toothbrush stay whole and not break into shards of plastic in your mouth? Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that that didn't happen to me.
yeah, I mean, there's so much when you think about the things that could go wrong in your life. I mean,
Right?
literally, we're not in a war zone. That itself is
Oh
cause for
yeah.
celebration, right?
Yeah.
There's so much gratitude to be given for the things that are not going wrong in our lives.
My
And
heart is beating, my feet work underneath my body. They're still carrying my load.
and then when you're in that moment of gratitude, there is no stress in that moment. You can't be grateful and stressed out at the same time. It's just not possible, right? So yeah, I mean, listen, this is great, right? Because we're focusing on the tools already. But I want to go back for 1 second to where you were in that struggle and feeling that hopelessness and that pain, do you think that you just got to a point where it was like, I'm done feeling sorry for myself, or I'm done feeling hopeless, I'm going to do something about it? Or did somebody say something that might have triggered you? I know it's been a while, but if you can kind of look back at that moment and think what caused you to make that shift and say, okay, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to find ways to deal with this, rather than what's the point of even being here, right? What made that shift happen for you?
Yeah, thank you for bringing me back. I got so excited about getting out of it. Nobody really wants to stay in it. Well, we do want to stay in it because it's familiar. It's like crap, but no, thank you. Yeah. So I remember when my mom passed away, it was like this horrible pain and then this huge relief at the same time. But I really was miserable for several days and maybe even weeks. But there was this moment where I was like, wait a minute. She wanted to live. She was really angry that she got cancer and was going to die. Why am I doing this to myself? She would want me to be enjoying my life. Even though we had our ups and downs with each other, like she wanted my life to be beautiful. So I do believe that that was part of the catalyst for me saying, I can't waste my life away. And I also have children, and they were still pretty young, and I needed to show up for them. And so on one hand, you want to say, well, you got to do it for yourself. But I think there's also times where it really helps to have other people that we do it for. And not everybody's in that position. So then how do you do it for yourself? And so I really had to weigh that out. Like, no, I am sick and tired of feeling this way. Like one of my children, when he was in middle school, just started to turn around. And I was like, so what made you decide like to do these things? He says, I was so tired of coming home and being in trouble. I'm like, okay. So there is like a little moment where like, oh yeah, I'd rather have it good than have it bad.
Yeah, that's so true. And, I worked with a lot of people in the fitness world for many years. And one of the things that I do notice a lot in that world, especially because people are trying to change their ways, is that you change when you're sick and tired of staying the same, right? Or when the pain of staying the same becomes so big that you're like, the pain of changing will be easier. So
Right.
sounds
Well, you
like,
can't force an addict into recovery. They have to be ready.
oh,
They
yeah.
have to hit their rock bottom.
And I think what you said about doing it for someone else, because I remember when, I've gained and lost weight bazillion times in my life. So I remember one time somebody telling me, well, you need to do this for yourself. And I remember like telling my husband, I have to go to the gym. I need to lose weight. Like, you want me to lose weight, right? You want me to look good, right? Or something like that. And she said to me in that moment, well, do it for yourself. Don't do it for him. And, as you're saying this, I'm thinking about that because, yes, it's important to do it for yourself, but sometimes it helps to have somebody to do it for. And then eventually you get to a point where you're like, yeah, but, I want to do this for myself because it feels good and because it feels right. And it takes time to get there sometimes. So if you have someone that you can rely on and, tap into that courage for, then why not? I say, why not? Right.
We kind of
And
have to go through the motions, fake it till you make it kind of thing sometimes. We may not really want it wholly for ourselves, but if we, just like the gratitude, like you said, like if we express gratitude, we can't be in the stress and anxiety at the same time, right? So if you make the motion to get out of your troubles, you will get out of your troubles. But it does take time to really just go through the motions.
yeah. Oh, so good. This is such a great conversation. I hope this is giving people some inspiration to look at where they are in their journey and, just really understand what it's going to take for them to step out of it if they're still in the middle of that struggle. So
Yeah.
just know that whatever works for you and whatever way that it feels good for you is a good way, as long as it takes you towards, getting out of it. Okay, so you decided that you were going to do something about it. You decided you were going to live your life because you saw your mom go through that and she couldn't live her life even though she wanted to. Um, what? So let's talk about the tools now. What were some of the first? So you said you had some really good spiritual practices. What did they look like? Tell me
Yeah.
about
So waking up, making my bed,
that.
writing my gratitude and affirmations about myself, positive affirmations.
Mhm.
Um, I
Can you
would take a
share
walk.
one or two?
What's that?
Can you share one or two affirmations that you might have used?
Yes, I'm beautiful inside and out. I am worthy of a prosperous and abundant life.
Mm.
I am loving, lovable, and loved. I make mistakes. I'm not a mistake. And some of these, again, were not mine. I did not create all of them. They came from my spiritual communities. I am enough. I'm good enough. I am great. I heard from Audre Lorde, joy is resistance. I'm going to resist, that I'm going to resist all the negativity and be in joy. It's joy is triumph. And then other things that I did was I started going to acupuncture. I was able to find a community acupuncture where it was a sliding scale, so I could pay $15 each time. And I literally went, that the suggestion was you go every day for 10 days and then 3 times a week and then, once a week. So I immediately got myself up and out and I was like, I'm going to acupuncture. And it was amazing. I changed my diet. I saw a physician, a naturopath who had a nursing background and got on different supplements. And, that my mom died in 2015, we're 2024. So we're hitting the 9-year anniversary. I have not used a cane or a walker in 4.5 years.
Oh, I love that. Yay.
And movement. Movement is a curse and a blessing. It hurts to move, but it feels better when you move. So it's like, so I've had to do it. I've had to move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Wow. So it sounds like you had the mindset shifts happening with the affirmations, you had the diet shifts happening, you had some holistic treatment with the acupuncture. What were they treating you for in the acupuncture? Was it for the fibromyalgia? Was it just in like a general
Fibromyalgia, sleep, like when they put the needles in my ears. Oh my God, I had such good night's sleep. I actually have to get back to acupuncture. My partner and I were just talking about that because I'm struggling with some stress as well right now. So, well, I mean, a lot of people are, but anyways, it's a little more pronounced right now. I don't need to go into details. And so, so they were treating me for the fibromyalgia, for sleep, for digestive challenges that come with the fibromyalgia, for fibro fog. And that was about, and it helped with the depression too.
Okay. Beautiful. And were you doing any kind of like meditations and stuff or not really?
So my form of meditation is not the same as everybody's. I take pauses all throughout the day. I really appreciate the serenity prayer. I don't know if people have heard it or not, but I just say, for me, it's universe, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I can't change people. I can't change the weather. When the rain comes in, I'm in a lot of pain. So I can't change it. To the courage to change things I can get warm. I can put on a hat, right? I can make some tea, and then the wisdom to know the difference, and just really being able to stand in that place of, I can't, so let go. I can, so do something.
Yeah. Wow. The reason I asked about meditation is because I, have a lot of people that come to me that say, I can't meditate to save my life. And I say to them that you don't have to. There are other ways to get into a meditative state.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so that's what you were doing. And that's why I wanted to bring that up because you didn't mention meditation. So I was curious. I'm like, I didn't hear that. So let's see what else is working. And so
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing I want to take away from what you said here is that you don't need to sit in stillness and eradicate all thoughts to be able to find peace.
Oh, definitely not. It's really
Right.
actually important, in my opinion, to have your thoughts, honor them, acknowledge them, and then say, okay, exit stage left, and then bring in, okay, now let me have the other thoughts, right? Because so here's an interesting word, the word balance. It
Mm.
doesn't mean you have an equal amount. It means that you identify what serves you, right? And then to apply the percentages of things into those areas of your life. I don't need to have fun 100% of the time. Honestly, I think it'd be boring. I'd be exhausted. But I do need to make sure there is an element of fun in my week, right? Just like when I have feelings, I need to feel them. I need to sit here and hold my heart. And that's what I do. I hold my heart and I close my eyes and I'm feeling it. Even when I'm in excruciating pain, when the rain comes in, I lay in bed and I honor it. I'm like, okay, this really sucks. I'm in pain. It feels really awful. And then I breathe into it and then I let it go and I can relax myself.
Breath has so much power, like unbelievable. Yeah.
Mom, you were right, Mom. Okay, I'm breathing a lot now.
Yeah, thanks, Mom, for the reminder. Thanks for being here today. I love that. Okay. So now you are at a 10. Did you start feeling like you were at a 10 as soon as you applied these tools? How long did it take? What was the journey like for you, like over a period of time?
No, it wasn't instant.
See, you'd be a millionaire if you could tell me you had a pill that made it instant.
I know, I know. That's a hard question. I'm not a destination kind of gal. I'm really about the journey. And so I'm not necessarily, I'm not attached to the 10. And I know I said this kind of at the beginning, and I think it's good to come back to it. I'm really okay with whatever number I have to be at because I know I can get back to the 10. But when I was really in bad shape, I didn't know I could get back to the 10. I didn't know I could even get to the 10. So I think for me, any number above 4 is a great number for me. It means that I've got my daily practices. The closer I get to 10 is because I'm using all of my tools, but I'm okay. I'm okay now if I can't always be at a 10.
Wow. I want to kind of emphasize on what you just said here because I think it's so powerful. You're okay if you're not at a 10. And what makes it okay is the knowing that whenever you need to get back to a 10, you know how.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
I
that
have systems in place for people to help me. Like I can tell somebody I'm struggling and they know that's the sign of I need your help to get back to 10. But I've had to ask people to help me. I've had to tell friends, I can't always be the initiator. You have to reach out to me too. So
wow.
I've really put systems in place for people to support me to rise back up. So I know I'm not alone and I don't have to worry about whether I'll get back there or not.
Was that hard to set up
Yeah.
like that kind of system? Because I know so many people struggle to ask for help. So many people would rather just suck it up and do it and not tell the whole world or anyone for that matter about their struggles.
Yeah. So this last event that we've talked about was the hit on the head that required me to ask for the help. I've had so many other things that took me down. And each time it was the universe saying, you need to learn to ask for help. You need to learn to ask for help. You need to learn to ask for help. So this was the one where I really took it seriously and use it till today. Even my partner does all the house cleaning. I've offered to pay for a house cleaner, but my partner wants to do it. But I said, I can't do house cleaning. It exhausts me. So I am very determined now with my boundaries around what I can do and what I can't do. And I ask for the help. But it literally took many different life situations to get me to that place.
You
And I
think
don't
big
want
lesson.
people to have to go through that. Just start asking for help now.
And that's the thing, right? When we've been through that journey to finding ourselves and creating that toolbox, I think most people will agree that the first thing you think of is why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah.
Right.
But we're
So
not there until we're there.
we're not exactly so, and everyone has to go through it in their own way possible. Like I was just talking to a friend, and she was like, I just had this aha moment the other day where I felt like I deserve to be happy. And I'm like, have I not said this to you like a bazillion times? She's like, you have, but it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like it was like, I deserve to be happy. And I was like, okay, so I guess that means that it doesn't really matter whether people tell you what you need to hear. It's when you hear it for yourself is when it hits hard.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. And just like I know as coaching with our clients, like I never give my clients advice because one, I don't want the liability and I don't want the blame.
Yeah.
And really, the idea is they've got to have their own dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
They've got to be able to determine for themselves, this is what I need. I'm going to go out and get it, right? And that's for everybody in life. Like even our children, we really didn't need to or don't need to protect them so much. They need to fall and they need to raise themselves back up,
Yeah.
right?
I
It's got to be
mean,
their idea.
yeah, we never learn from pleasure. We only learn from pain, unfortunately. So we have to have the pain to be able to deal with the lessons that come with it.
Yeah.
Such a good conversation. Oh my God, I wish I could keep going. But what I want to do is bring it back to wrap it up for our audience to understand, what they could do if they're kind of struggling and in the middle of something that is feeling really, really hard and painful right now. What's one piece of advice you could give somebody who's needing to come out or break free of their struggle but doesn't know where to start or what to do?
Yeah. So I have two things. One is to remind yourself that you've already, and this is not my quote, I don't know where it came from, but you've already survived 100% of your trauma. And so to remind yourself, you've already survived 100% of your trauma.
You're here. You're still here.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
And then I guess the other one would be this is a real personal journey for each person, right? So I can't really give you the words, but I put my hand on my heart and I tell myself, I value all of who I am and I'm okay.
mm,
So you can create an affirmation for yourself that really resonates, that supports you in identifying why you're here, who you are, and that you are okay. Yeah.
so good. So good. Yeah. You have survived everything so far, and an affirmation that makes you feel good in the moment, that reminds you of your value, whatever
Yeah.
that looks like. Yeah, because oftentimes when we're in that struggle, we forget our own worth and our value, and we want to, end things. But I hope that this entire episode and this last two pieces of advice that you gave will resonate with people and give them hope if they need it. And what is it that they have to look forward to when they break through and come out on the other side stronger and feeling a 10? What does that feel like for you every day right now?
It's joy. I love it. It feels good and it's exciting. And it's also like this awareness that even if there's not extreme joy, there's like moments of awe and that we can be connected and interconnected and just feel peaceful. They say in addiction that people are striving for excitement. Recovery is boring.
Yep.
Well, healing can be boring too, but there's still moments to be able to navigate and gravitate towards peace, right? It just feels that joy isn't always just excitement. It's like this sense of being and purpose and self-love. So
Mhm.
that's what I hope for people is I really feel like a lot of self-love.
I love
Yeah.
that. And now you coach people, right? You help them find this joy.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm starting a program in January, virtual, in person, daily, weekly, half day, full day. Everybody gets full access. People get to choose what they're doing. But it's called Laughter to Joy Wellness Experience.
Oh, I love that.
And so we'll do mindset, we do breathing, in fact, I wanted to talk to you more, but we'll do that after the podcast. I want to invite you in to help me out. I'm looking for facilitators, but it's really an opportunity to embrace for 6 hours, whether it's 1 hour at a time or full 6 hours, this need to laugh and to find joy and the elements of joy of dancing, music, laughter, and play. And then also, it's only $99, but for your podcast people, I'll do a special for $79. And they just need to use the word sale 20 and they can get it for $79. And
Okay.
so,
Awesome. We'll put
yeah.
all the links in the chat, in the show notes, and so people can access all of that information. And I want to point out one last thing before we wrap it up is that when you found joy, your natural instinct was to pass it on and pay it forward.
Oh, heck
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yes. And
Yeah.
and not even just I know that I can't just easily pass it on. It's really um, you know, it's more attraction
Mm,
than it is promotion, right? And
sure.
so being able to see it, but I do love teaching it. I do love supporting people. And my mission, which we didn't share in the beginning, I forgot, is to help 1 million people feel seen, heard, valued, and understood.
Love
So
that.
whether they're paying me or not paying me, whether it's free or whatever, I want to help people feel that depth of empathy and kindness. And
Oh,
so, yeah,
we have the same mission, my friend.
I
I love it.
know.
I
That's
love
why
it.
we
This is
were
so good.
connected.
Yes, I know. I felt drawn to you the moment I met you. So I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story of pain and the recovery from that and the joy that you live in now. I am so thrilled that you are able to be here and not only be here, but you are thriving and you are in peace and in love and in joy and able to spread that around. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, appreciate your time and your wisdom.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everybody, unless you have other plans.
Thank you. And we will post all the details in the show notes. So definitely check out Misha. Real quick, tell people where they can find you. One way they can find you
Yeah,
easily.
absolutely. So you can go to my website at ceeq.org.
Okay. CEE.
And also on there is when you go to shops and resources, you can see the Joy program that's happening soon.
Excellent. All right. Check it out, everybody, and let us know what you think in the comments. And we will see you again in a few weeks with another guest. Thank you.